And welcome to News 360, live from our studio here at Adisawe in Accra. My name is Martin Esiedu Date.
And I'm Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Coming up in the bulletin this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint
and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Electoral Commission hit by more suits over impending limited voter registration.
Also coming up, minority in Parliament poised to go ahead with its September 12 protest despite court dismissing objection and granting the police permission to amend the suit.
You can even protest in front of White House today, and people do it on a daily basis.
West African Examination Council concerned about widespread malpractices in ongoing West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASSCE.
Our government plan to go into partnership with 10 field partners for natural gas production to augment Ghana's power sector needs.
I'm aware of commentary, both in the media and other corridors, about the viability of making great use of natural gas produced domestically to support the needs of the country's power sector.
In more business news, 3Business puts the spotlight on onion importers as they still count their losses following the political crisis in Niger.
On the international front, at least 49 civilians reported dead in attack on riverboat in northeastern Mali.
Stay with us on News 360. We are live on TV3 Ghana, on Facebook, all across the world, on 3news.com.
Let's dig into the details now. And people protest in front of the White House on a daily basis. Does the Bank of Ghana require more security than the front of the White House? That's a quote that has been attributed to the Minority Chief Whip Governs Kwame Agboja after an Accra High Court had dismissed the minority's preliminary objection to the police's injunction suit that was filed against their protest to remove the Bank of Ghana governor and his 2 deputies. Lord Edwasare was in court and reports.
In his ruling, Justice Edward Chum noted that while the police erred in filing their injunction application by using the Republic instead of the Ghana Police Service or IGP, it was empowered by the Law Officers Act to carry out the injunction. He thus overruled the minority's preliminary objection to the injunction and gave the police 7 days to amend their application. The case has been adjourned to September 18 for the court to determine the injunction application by the Ghana Police Service against the protest. Reacting to the ruling, NDC Communications Officer Sami Jenfi commended the party's team.
This is a very important contribution to the development of the law. It's a very landmark ruling that for us students of the law, we are very much interested in. So commendation to our lawyers, commendation to the Minority Caucus, commendation to Arise Ghana and all the civil society organizations and progressive forces who are joining us in this struggle. This is not a fight for the NDC, this is not a fight for the Minority Caucus, it's a fight for the ordinary Ghanaian, because the recklessness of the governor, his deputies and the board of directors of the Bank of Ghana is what has plunged all of us into the excruciating hardships we currently find ourselves in.
The Minority Chief Whip and Member of Parliament for Adaklu Governs Kwame Agboja described the police's view of the premises of the Bank of Ghana as an attempt to thwart the protest against the governor.
You can even protest in front of White House today, and people do it on a daily basis. Is the Bank of Ghana more secure? They require more security than the front of Flagstaff House, than the front of Parliament. I think this is just, as our colleagues have said, it's just an attempt to protect.
Meanwhile, the police cancelled a scheduled meeting with the minority MPs on the way forward regarding their protest. Lord Edwasare, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, government intends to go into partnership with the 10 field partners for natural gas production to augment Ghana's power sector needs. President Akufo-Addo, who made this known at the commissioning of the first oil from the Jubilee Southeast, called for equity for Ghanaians in the oil and gas sector.
The Jubilee Southeast area is set to increase its oil production capacity to over 100,000 barrels daily by the end of the year. President Akufo-Addo was at the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah at the Jubilee Fields for a tour before returning to Takoradi for an official commissioning of first oil. He announced plans to engage Tullow Oil and its partners in the 10 field for natural gas production to strengthen Ghana's power sector stability, noting that government's intention is to ensure the country's oil and gas sector remained stable.
The Local Content and Ghanaian Participation Law, LI 2204, that was passed in 2013, has been amended to include channel partnerships and strategic alliances in the upstream petroleum sector. Our position of local content is not just about supplying ancillary services to the sector, but also having a stake in the resources as well. We must collectively endeavor to train our people to get to a level where they have the capacity to be able to participate fully in the industry.
He advocated for the enhancement of Ghana's capacity to ensure equity in the oil and gas industry.
I'm aware of commentary, both in the media and other corridors, about the viability of making great use of natural gas produced domestically to support the needs of the country's power sector. Players in the oil and gas sector have been advocating for a commitment by government to consider deploying more natural gas produced domestically to solve the challenges in providing sustainable electricity for individuals, households, and businesses.
The Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, called for a reassessment of the regulatory aspects of the country's oil and gas industry.
Sustained discussions, which started in 2017 between the Ministry of Energy, GNPC, and the Jubilee partners, eventually led to the approval of the Greater Jubilee Field Development Plan. One thing was certain in all the engagements back then, that the Jubilee Field was going to be an investment that would surely lead to increased production in a mature field and pave way to immense value and benefits for this country.
The $1 billion Greater Jubilee Field is partnering with Tullow Oil, Cosmos Energy, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Petro SA, and Jubilee Oil Holdings.
Now let's go to another issue that has been topical throughout the day. The West African Examination Council says it has uncovered widespread malpractices in the ongoing West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASSCE. According to the council, the level of malpractices is so high to the extent that it is unable to put a figure to it. WAEC confirms that students, teachers and supervisors are involved in the illegality, adding that the situation is overwhelming. Some schools are reported to be charging their candidates between 500 cedis and 1,000 cedis to enable them to get assistance during the examination. WAEC adds that some proprietors have shown open hostility towards its monitoring teams amid attempts to bribe officials and personnel. The conduct of WASSCE in Ghana has over the years been fraught with several irregularities, including the smuggling of electronic gadgets into examination halls, leakage of papers, and impersonation of scripts, among others. So let's go on to Zoom now, where John Kapi has joined us. He is the head of public affairs at the West African Examination Council to have a conversation on this worrying development. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining us on News 360.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Well, we are aware that WAEC revised its regulations to deal with these irregularities and malpractices. What happened to these rules? Why are we still recording cases even on a daily basis?
Well, the rules will always be there, and there are people who feel that it's possible for them to breach those rules. And that is what we are seeing across some of the senior high schools in the country.
So how bad is the current practices being recorded? What are the figures?
Well, for now, we have been able to seize a number of mobile phones from candidates who are in the examination halls. In one school, as we mentioned this morning, we were able to seize about 86 phones. And that is not an isolated case. There are many other centers where we've picked up mobile phones from candidates in the examination halls. We've also had situations where teachers and vigilators had, taken snapshots of the questions, posted them on social media. We've also had situations where solutions to the questions have been prepared, photocopied, and were, either being circulated or about to be circulated to the candidates in examination halls.
Well, 86 is quite a number, and we've seen these cases happen over and over again. What actions are we going to take against the schools or institutions involved?
Well, for cases with mobile phones, any candidate found with a mobile phone on them in the examination hall will have their entire results cancelled. Now, if we also assess the entire conduct of a particular center and we realize several breaches, there are two things that we can do, even in the course of the examination. We can choose to change the personnel who are supervising and vigilating the examination, or we can choose to move the center from wherever it is to another place that is convenient enough for us to be able to monitor them and ensure that they go by the rules and regulations governing the examination.
One other concern is that a lot of people have questioned the integrity of WASSCE because of all of these malpractices and how it has been handled over the years. How do you intend to safeguard your integrity going forward?
We have mechanisms with which we detect irregularities. For example, we do scrutiny of scripts after the examination. As the reports flow, we are also monitoring the level of irregularity in the schools. We've also had private individuals calling us, sending us messages and telling us what is happening. And so all the scripts of these institutions are going to be scrutinized. And if we find out that they are among those who have breached our rules, we would take appropriate action, probably cancel subject results or entire results.
Thank you for your time this evening. John Kapi is the head of public affairs at WAEC. We are still staying on Zoom, where Dr. Peter Partey-Anti has joined us. He is an educationist and the executive director of the Institute for Educational Studies. But Dr. Anti, thank you very much for joining us. Now, clearly, WAEC says it is overwhelmed with the level of malpractices. Does this mean that we're giving up on the fights when it comes to exam malpractices and irregularities? Mr. Anti, can you hear me? I think that we're having a problem with our Zoom currently. We're trying to get in touch with Dr. Peter Partey-Anti. He is an educationist and he's also the executive director of IFIRST to speak about the malpractices and the irregularities that have taken place in the current WASSCE, which has been a great concern to a lot of people.
More shocking that the exam has just started and 2 weeks into it, we seem to be recording these very shocking revelations by WAEC. But I think we do have Dr. Peter Partey-Anti with us now.
Dr. Anti, are you with us now?
Yes, please. Good evening to your viewers.
Right. Thank you for joining us. WAEC says it is overwhelmed with the level of practices. What does it mean for our educational system?
Thank you very much once again. I find the strategy of WAEC this time around to be very interesting, because in previous years you would see that it is we, the stakeholders, who normally come out with these challenges that we've observed through our monitoring of the exams, and then you see WAEC coming on the defensive. But interestingly, this year WAEC is putting a lot of information out, and they are taking the lead in discussing the issues of examination malpractices. I think it's important that we have this discussion, because if you are not careful, the value of the certificates that students are supposed to present for both their tertiary education, both internally and then for international education, seems to be would be a little bit problematic, and that is why all stakeholders will need to come together and find ways and means that will be able to reduce these kind of practices to the barest minimum. You would see that in previous years, it was more about exams paper leakages, and that is where the attention for WAEC seems to have been. But we know that when it comes to examination malpractices, we have pre-exams, we have during the exams, and we have after the exams. Now the attention is more on during the exams, what happens in the examination centers. And it's interesting that you will see supervisors that have been employed by WAEC, invigilators that have been employed by WAEC, teachers, parents, students, and everybody getting involved in this kind of malpractice. And that is very problematic to me. And I think that we need to have a broader discussion on how we will be able to deal with this, because if we are not able to do that, what is going to happen is that going forward, you will see some tertiary institutions now requiring that students that apply for admission should sit for an entrance examination because they can't trust the results that they are presenting.
But what do you think are some of the actions that can be taken against the students, the teachers, and even the parents that allow themselves to get involved in these kind of malpractices?
I think the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is, why is it that these things keeps on happening? And I think that if you are not able to really come out with reason for these the escalation in the malpractices, we will not be able to solve it, irrespective of the punishment that we continue to melt out to perpetrators. So WAEC is arresting some of the evaluators and supervisors. They are threatening to cancel papers. They are shifting examination centers and all that. But the question is, this is because of the anxiety that comes with the exams, and the anxiety is as a result of the fact that people know that when they sit for this exam and they don't pass, that is the end of their lives. And that is the fact that we are refusing to accept. If you sit for WASSCE and you don't pass, you cannot go anywhere. No employer would employ you, and you cannot enter any tertiary education institution. And that is a broader policy discussion that the ministry should be bold enough to start, so that we now know that if you do pre-tertiary education in Ghana, which is technically 14 years, and you sit for WASSCE, you still have a hope that there will be an opportunity for you to continue your life and pursue your career aspirations. Failing WASSCE should not be the end point of anybody's life. Until we are able to get past this particular kind of anxiety, parents, teachers, students, and everybody within the chain would find ways and means to enable the learner pass. And I think that is the broader discussion that we need to have. Although we can do the other ones of arresting and all those things, the anxiety is still there. People know that WAEC, the SSC, the WASSCE is a do or die affair for them. And when it becomes that, all that they need to do is to find ways and means to pass. We need to deal with that particular problem first before we can think about any other thing.
Grateful for your time this evening. Dr. Peter Partey-Anti is an educationist and the executive director of IFEST.
Let's shift our attention to some health-related stories now. There is an outbreak of an African swine fever in the Kwahu West municipality of the Eastern region. 600 pigs have already been killed within the municipality. Though harmless to humans, the virus is highly contagious.
The African swine fever was detected 3 weeks ago among pigs and confirmed after laboratory tests this week. At Kwahu Akwabwa, a pig farmer, Dr. Kwesi Owusu has been hardly hit. He has incurred a loss estimated at about 2.2 million cedis from losing over 500 pigs to the African swine fever outbreak.
I don't know what to do. All what I'm trying to do is to wait until the system will be clear up. I think the doctors have been coming here, the vets are here, and the directors are here. So we are waiting for them to tell us the way forward.
The Kwahu West veterinary officer, Dr. Mark Owusu, confirmed the outbreak and assured it would be controlled.
The farmers, we are advising all of them to be patient and do not allow any new pig to come to your farm. Do not move your pigs. Do not sell the pigs. within Kwahu West. We are organizing a seminar for the farmers.
The Kwahu West Municipal Agriculture Director, Francis Dogbache, urged all pig farmers to quickly report any symptoms to veterinary officers to avoid widespread.
Though it's not harmful, it is not zoonotic, it is something we need to manage in order to contain it. And also, he was a nominee we shortlisted for the regional livestock best farmer for the 39th edition of the National Farmers Day. We were only waiting for the inspection team to come around to conduct the inspection, and this catastrophe struck. So in fact, this is a deep blow to us.
African swine fever, a viral disease, is a highly contagious, deadly swine disease that can affect both farm-raised and wild pigs.
So we hope quick solution is found to it, because the pork, their boys will enjoy them. All right, let's turn our attention to political related matters now. 2 private citizens have taken the Electoral Commission to court over the decision to hold the limited voter registration exercise at the district offices barely 24 hours after some 5 opposition political parties took a similar action. Lord Edwasari assesses the suit and reports.
The applicants who filed the injunction suit separately are residents of Ochebleku near Afienya in the Greater Accra region and Hulitoji in the Volta region. The duo, who are both first-timers in the application onto the electoral roll, among others, argue that the distance of the closest district office to their place of abode is a tortuous journey. While the closest district office of the Electoral Commission is about 37 kilometers from the applicant in Accra's place of abode, the applicant from Fulitoji argues she has to travel 100 kilometers, which involves going through the Republic of Togo Road before getting to Hohoe district office. They are praying the court to enjoin the commission from restricting the registration to only its district offices and further order it to open it to all electoral areas which they believe have a closer proximity. Naming the Electoral Commission as the first respondent and Attorney General as second, Precious Aita and Mercy Agbanoto knows that a dismissal of the suit will cost them the opportunity to exercise their civil rights by missing the chance to vote in the next elections. Lord Edwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
So definitely a concerning issue for the Electoral Commission, who are yet to give a response to this suit, and would even want to find out if they have already been served. And this comes on the back of, like we indicated, 5 other political parties led by the NDC and the CPP who have raised similar concerns about the EC's decision to hold the limited voter registration exercise only at its district offices. Let's go to Zoom now and engage Nick Pakpo Samoa Ado, who is lawyer for Ayita Precious, one of the 2 private citizens who have sued the Electoral Commission over the limited voter registration exercise. Mr. Pakpo Samoa, good evening to you, if you can hear me, and thank you for your time. We seem not to have a clean connection to Nick Pakpo Samoa on this, but the concerns clearly is that some have already also shared on social media. But on the back of all of this,
and what? Exercise the constitutional right to be registered. So she's simply saying and asking the court that the court should remind the EC that it has a legal duty to ensure that its administrative measures do not impede the right of the citizen to be registered, so that that registration can enable the voter to vote.
Right.
So my client simply wants the EC to what? Extend the areas of what? Registration, so that it will come to the electoral areas which are a walking distance from your residence.
Right, right. And well, that's a fair point to make, but we realize that your interlocutory injunction you have filed against the EC will be moved on the 16th of October. Meanwhile, the exercise starts on the 12th of September. So how do we reconcile these two, and wouldn't that affect your suit?
We have a precedent by the EC itself. Recall when Dr. Dufour filed a writ in the court challenging his eligibility issues to do with the EC. Clearly, the EC, when it was there, said that until and unless the matters in court were resolved, it could not proceed. So they have to abide by their own precedent. Once they have been served, and we have acknowledgement of the fact that they have been served, they cannot proceed until the grievances of my clients are heard by the court.
Which means, as we speak, the EC has not been served.
The EC has been served. They were served today. Okay.
All right. So, I mean, we all would just have to keep our fingers crossed and see how this plays out. Thank you so much for your time, Nick. Samuel Addo, who is a private legal practitioner and counsel for one of the two private citizens who have taken on the Electoral Commission over the limited voter registration exercise.
If you have just joined us, this is News 360. Till to come, Ghana Highways Authority hands over abandoned toll booth on Tema-bound stretch of Accra-Tema motorway to contractors to be removed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
You just sleep. That's Madina.
Sentuntum say wuna ma de jume ma wonsa.
Efrema be ma gani oba.
Ma wonsa.
Sentuntum ma boasu muda ma wonsa. That shall not slap. Having black mosquito quail. Pamon tontom na empom wisie bebre na ema wo mowa na ema wo nhwem na ehwam.
Having insecticide spray ehwam na sanso kum mo a wotu ene omo wia nyina. Now having naphthalene balls and having perfumed insect repellent no ekumwa warrior nothing just here with
having black mosquito kwe empom wisie bebre and say wo hwene so ehwam kama kwe no emubu na jumo size no boduma don't shit to me no
and a heaven spray having naphthalene balls ni perfumed insect repellent no ekumwa omutu na wa wonam from nothing just here with
heaven dear ba ko pe heaven dear
FDA aji edrede krato yatum.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Choose Sukasa for the highest quality, luxurious townhouses in East Lagoon Hills. 2, 3, and 4 bedroom in a gated community starting at $40,000 in Accra, Ghana. Sukasa, building on trust.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap. Day by day men, strong and refined. The skincare you deserve. Dream.
Thank you for staying with us on News 360. On to some more stories. The Ghana Highways Authority has handed over the abandoned toll booth on the Tema-bound stretch of the Accra-Tema motorway to contractors to be removed. The investment of over 1 million cedis will also fund the installation of solar-powered streetlights to enhance visibility on the motorway. My colleague George Queening reports.
This is the toll booth on the Tema-bound stretch of the Accra-Tema motorway. On the 3rd of September, that was on Sunday, an accident occurred here, and it was a haulage truck and a fuel tanker. According to eyewitnesses, it was as a result of poor visibility and the fact that there was free flow of traffic at this very area, that's the toll booth area. And for them, if the toll system is not working, there's no need we have these facilities here. So officials of the Ghana Highways Authority were here to hand over the site to the contractors. And so there are going to be 2 projects, taking place here, and that's the installation of solar-powered street lights and the demolition of the extension of the highway getting to the toll booth area.
The first part is the installation of solar-powered street lights to enhance visibility at night here, and also to afford the contractor who will be doing demolition works visibility at night to expedite the demolition works. So we anticipate that as soon as the street light works are completed, the demolition contractor will move in and clear off the concrete structures.
When you watch closely, this is the original lane, that's the Tema-bound stretch, and this is the extension heading to the toll booth area. So what the Ghana Highways Authority is going to do is they're going to demolish this side and leave the original lane for the motorists.
If you are proceeding, you are coming from Accra, you come on the original concrete section, you don't divert your course. And then once any obstacle is taken out of your way, you can proceed safely and effectively.
The demolition will be this
1, 2, 3. And the rest will be blocked.
Over 1 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for the 2 projects. And we also spoke to the project lead manager for the installation of the street lights. And for him, barring any unforeseen circumstances, his project should be completed in less than a week.
We understand there are no utility lines around this side. So we've taken the measurement, and the installation team will be on site to peg where the street light post will be, and tomorrow excavation will start. Then we'll start casting concrete between tomorrow and next week Wednesday.
Well, government has plans to actually revamp the entire 19-kilometer Accra-Tema motorway, and the process is at the design stage. Hopefully, by 2024, major works on the 90-kilometer highway will commence. George Queening, TV3 News, Accra.
And our fingers have been crossed on that revamping of the Tema motorway for a number of years now. We are all awaiting action on that stretch. Well, news just coming in. We are picking bits and pieces of information from across the country that major parts have gone off in terms of power outage. We are sure, at least for now, that major parts of Accra are off. We are unable to tell what exactly is the reason behind it. We are working the lines to see if we can get the ECG to give us some details of what exactly has caused the power outage. But many of you watching us, I'm sure, can attest to that. And it actually even affected some of the contact persons we had agreed to speak to on the show. So if you're watching, tell us where exactly you're watching us from. Let's know what the problem is, and we'll let the state authorities be aware in due time. Time now for business.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN, Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. My name is Michael Obodu. Straight into our first story, as Ghanaian onion importers are still counting their losses following the constraints in transporting the essential ingredient from the landlocked country of Niger. Three businesses, Shadrach Isifri, in this special feature looks at the economic impact of the Niger situation on importers.
Niger has been Ghana's primary source of onions, supplying a significant portion of the market for many years. However, the coup in Niger and the subsequent closure of borders, coupled with terrorism activities in the area, has disrupted the supply chain heavily, affecting consumers locally.
You know, onions is a perishable goods. So at least if you load it, if you keep long inside the car, 7 days. If it's more than 10 days, the onions will spoil. So you can imagine a car load onions to stand at the border 4 weeks.
The difficulty with cutting the commodity has resulted in heavy losses for these importers, as many have lost their capital and livelihood.
The cars who blocked there is about 70 plus cars. But the cars who came to Accra here are 15 cars that came here, and we couldn't even offload even one single bike to sell. If I tell you the quantum money that we used to buy the onions per single car is safer. Before you buy a full load, you have to hold 17 million safer. 17 million safer times 18 cedi. It will give you a total number of 306,000 Ghana cedi.
The situation is even more grievous for some of these importers as they raise their capitals through loans.
Still, some of our members have been hospitalized. We've lost all our capital. I used to be an importer, but I lost everything. I carry onions now to survive.
They warn that if nothing is done about the situation, prices of onions on the market may increase astronomically.
So it's something like 100 million that we spend to come to Accra here. Now that because we are following through that long journey, we are spending about 36,000 Ghana cedi. Last year, the last price we sold onions in Accra here was 900. But this year, I can tell you that some sell 1,600, some sell 1,500. By December, if they did not open the border, I'm sure it will hit 2,000 plus.
For the Peasant Farmers Association, now is the time for Ghana to take charge of its onion production to ensure food security.
About 90% of the onions that were brought in cannot be used. They all rotten. So for us in Peasant Farmers, we think this is a great opportunity for the farmers and other investors who want to go into agriculture to invest in onions production.
Shadrach Isifri, 3 Business, Accra.
Meanwhile, the director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, Professor Peter Quartey, says the situation could exacerbate the country's food inflation. He's however optimistic that the country will take advantage of the situation to grow food that Ghanaians consume in order to reduce imports.
What is happening in Niger and with the supply being curtailed is likely to lead to higher prices on the market, which we are already experiencing. And this has inflationary effects. But it's only one commodity. If you look at the basket of goods that we use to measure inflation, onions, tomato, a small fraction of them. So yes, it can lead to some level of inflation. But then it also gives us opportunity to reconsider. I believe local producers will now start producing more some of these commodities in the shortest possible time. We'll be able to enhance our food security in this area.
Now, Cocoa Board wants to boost the price cocoa farmers get for their crop by more than some 63%. The cocoa industry regulator called for boosting the rate farmers get for their crop by more than 60% to discourage them from smuggling beans to the neighboring Ivory Coast, where returns for the commodity are better. The proposed new farm gate price is 20,800 cedis, equivalent of $1,825 per ton for the season that starts on Friday. This is up from 12,800 cedis for the current season, according to people familiar with the matter. Government is expected to come out with an announcement on Saturday, September 9. Well, that will be all for the business segment here on News 360. Our website, 3news.com, has more business stories for you. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports.
ECG is now cashless. My studio lights are always on. I never run out of power. With the ECG Power app, I'm able to report an issue, check my credit, buy power, all in real time whenever I need to. I don't worry if ECG vendors are closed. In the comfort of wherever I may be, I still keep my lights on thanks to the ECG Power app. You can simply use mobile money wallets, Visa or MasterCard. It does not attract e-levy. With the ECG Power app, you're totally covered. To download, go to the App Store or the Google Play Store. You don't have a smartphone? Don't worry. No internet? Don't worry. No data? Do not worry. Just dial *226#. This is what I call convenience in your hands. ECG Power app. A yes, simple pa.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN just for you. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Pepsodent introduces charcoal and lemon essence. The unique combination of natural essences whitens teeth naturally for you and family because every smile matters.
New Pepsodent Herbal. Introducing a unique combination of herbal extracts in an antibacterial toothpaste for strong teeth and healthy gums that protects your family and you. Every smile matters.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Jackpot of the week. Place bets and hit the jackpot. Log into the OneXBet account. Click on the Take Part button, place bet, and take part in the jackpot draw. Give your luck a chance. Use promo code to get a bonus on your first deposit.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Gambling can be addictive.
Sports segment is brought to you by Bell Pack Tissues.
Welcome back to News 360 on TV3. Time now for sports. Yalfo Sulabi is with us. Are we still reveling from yesterday's win? Or
yeah, I mean, it's still ongoing. But I think that, you know, everyone expects that Ghana qualifies for an AFCON, and so the celebration is quite minimal. But Ghana will take on Liberia on Tuesday in a friendly game.
That's a friendly?
It's a friendly, yeah. So we should see how that goes. But let's begin the news. And to our very first story is the trending story today, because the USA failed to reach the 2023 FIBA World Cup final after losing to Germany in the last four earlier today. The Germans will face Serbia in the final. Now, this comes off the back of Noah Lau's comments at the World Athletics Championship, saying that the National Basketball Association does not mean that Americans are the best in the world in basketball. My colleague Billy Shen has more in this report.
Team USA started the 2023 FIBA World Cup with huge expectations. The five-time champions were favorites to win it all this year. But Germany had other ideas. Despite the efforts of Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards, the European team booked their place in the final with a 113-111 win. What went right for Germany, and how did USA get it wrong?
When you look at the way Germany play as a unit, the actions that they were running, they were flowing into a lot of early offense actions consistently, whereas Team USA were playing more individualistic basketball. It was a lot of one-on-one, a lot of guys shooting the gap. And that, to me, said that there was a lack of continuity. They change players every international tournament, whereas a team like Germany don't have the depth that USA do. So they develop more of a team mentality and they become more comfortable playing off of each other.
The American side, despite assembling a formidable team this year, left out a host of dominant players in the NBA like LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and others. Taylor believes Team USA would have a better chance of winning major laurels if their top players are included.
You know, there's a lot of value in having continuity within a tournament team that have played together for multiple years, but there's also value in having the 4 top players or 3 of the top 5 guys on your roster. Team USA just didn't have the talent that they could have potentially taken with them. You start recruiting the big stars over to the team for the Olympics next year. You try and bring Jason Tatum in, you try and bring Steph Curry and whoever else you want, and you build a dream team. You go for a 2024 dream team.
Steve Kerr's side fell short this time, but they will look to come back stronger in 2027.
And the Germans have done it! They have stunned the United States in the semifinals!
Exciting scenes there at the FIBA World Cup, and Germany will take on Serbia in the final. To some more stories, and Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk has been suspended for an extra match and fined £100,000 after admitting he acted in an improper manner following the red card in a win at Newcastle United. The defender was sent off in the 28th minute of fouling Alexander Isak. Van Dijk was banned against Aston Villa on the 3rd of September and will be unavailable to face Wolves on the 16th of September. He appeared to remonstrate with referee John Brooks prior to walking off the pitch at St. James's Park. To some more stories, and Aston Villa's Philippe Coutinho has joined Qatari side Al Duhail on loan for the rest of the season. The Brazil midfielder, who's 31 years old, has made just 2 substitute appearances for Aston Villa this term after scoring 1 goal in 22 matches in the previous campaign. His current contract at the Premier League club runs out in June 2026. Coutinho completed a permanent move to Aston Villa from Barcelona in July 2022, 6 months after initially signing on loan. Well, that's all the sports news this evening here on News 360. My name is Yao Ofosulabi. Entertainment news will come after the break.
Every child is so unique. You like no other. Outstanding in every way. It's me like no other. So anytime you walk and play. You like no other. You are special like Indomie. It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no other. Indomie. It's you like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you, Mommy.
Introducing Indomie Beef Flavor. Buy now.
This advert is FDA approved.
Make life beautiful. Embrace it with the all-new Ahofe from GTP. Life, style.
Water is life. Water gives life. Water moves through nature in a never-ending cycle. Observe the beauty of water as it flows all around us, refreshing and restoring. Gaze in wonder at the stillness and beauty of nature. There's harmony in nature everywhere around. Water revitalizes the body and keeps you going strong. Water is life. Water gives life. Drink Awake Purified Drinking Water. One for life. So relax and unwind, and in the calmness of nature, find the rest you desire. For every bottle of Awake you buy, an amount to be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA.
Sugar and carbon became.
Ma, select data ebony day *700#
BOY boy. Taxi. Further together.
You can be part of a greater data world of endless possibilities on Vodafone. Mama. With the best value and amazing data offers and services in Ghana, you can now dream bigger, explore wider, go further, get more for less with Vodafone data.
We can do anything we put our mind to.
Vodafone. Further together.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water, GTP, still timeless, Vodafone, further together, and powered by 3 Entertainment.
It's now time for entertainment. Anita Kekufu has joined us. Anita, how's it going?
It's going well, and this weekend we're gearing up for the Calabash Color Festival.
Oh, right.
It's the first of its kind.
Calabash Color Festival.
Is it the calabash you used to drink?
No, so it's like Calabash.
Oh,
Calabash, yeah.
Calabash
yeah.
Color Festival.
You should be there.
Okay, I'll give
All
us
right.
details then.
My name is Anita Ekia Ekufu, and the weekend is here, and as always, there are a lot of events and activities to expect. And one event that will be as colorful as its name suggests is the Calabash Color Festival. Co-founder Nia Jetisua has been speaking to 3 Entertainment.
3, 2, 1.
Inspired by the Holy Festival of Colors in India, the first ever Calabash Color Festival aims to mimic our colorful way of life, bringing together people from all walks of life to have fun and to celebrate. According to co-founder, the team has been planning this for 12 years.
12 years ago, I attended the Color Festival. It's a holy Indian festival in Salt Lake City, and I love the feeling of being in color and the music and the people around. And I thought to myself that I was going to do something like this in Ghana. Brother and I kept going back and forth on when to do it. And 12 years later, here we are.
This groundbreaking festival is set to offer a unique and unforgettable experience as it combines colors, artist performances, live band and food to create an immersive and visually stunning celebration.
This is supposed to be a 360. There's supposed to be music, dance, and food. And then we're adding the color aspect of it. Our intention is to appeal to all your senses. So your sight, which is the color you're going to see, your hearing, which is the music, your taste, which is going to be the food, and the feel, which is the vibrance. White with color and people around is supposed to be a whole mood.
Every hour, there will be a countdown for the exciting color throw when the energy is high and the crowd is pumped. The question is, how are you supposed to dress for a color festival, especially when there will be a lot of color in the air?
You're supposed to come looking plain, white or black, so that you can leave colorful. This is supposed to be a free, fun moment for everyone.
And reggae dancehall artist episode says that the slow-paced growth in the Ghanaian music industry should not be blamed on lack of investment. Episode feels strongly that the industry can make headway if established artists support one another and use their star power to support up and coming ones.
Well, I think it's a factor, but then again, it's not also stopping us. Because regardless of these finance and all of these things, we have one or two artists who are affiliated to all these major names or labels which are pushing these other Nigerians. You get what I'm saying? If that is really a factor, then I think the Tanzanian market or the East African market shouldn't dominate. But they are doing good regardless. You would have artists like Imboso with crazy numbers. You know, you would have the Zuchus, you have Sautiso and all these. And if the new artist gets to even have a 1% of that Salty Soul Rich, then it means that Soul Generation in the next 5 years would actually also adapt new artists and then follow with them. And that is what we're lacking. You understand what I'm saying? Ebefe say, yes, some of the artists have disappointed labels. Some of the artists have disappointed investors. But I say we the artists can cheer the next artist. It's very nice to see a Ruger advert play at a Sake's concert.
Now let's get into some top entertainment stories making waves.
Welcome to Entertainment Tidbits. After losing out to Benjamin Epps in the BET Best International Flow category 2022, Ghanaian sensation Black Sherif has bagged another nomination in the same category for the 2023 BETs. He is nominated alongside the late AKA from South Africa, Central C from the UK, Gazo from France, J Hus from the UK, KO from South Africa, Major RD from Brazil, Nino from France, Sampa the Great from Zambia, and Tasha and Tracy from Brazil. All the best to you, Blacko, and we're definitely more hopeful this time. After all, they say a second time is a charm.
My name is Anita Ikia Ikufu. It's a wrap on the entertainment news segment. Have a beautiful weekend.
All right, and before we bounce out, let's find out what's happening around the world. We're starting from Mali, where at least 46 civilians have been reported dead in an attack on a riverboat in the northeastern part of the country. Now, this comes on the back of the fact that Mali has been reporting issues of insecurity following the reason why they actually undertook a coup in that country. Now, the soldiers who are the leaders of the country say they are needing assistance to fend off the insurgents and jihadist attacks on their borders. Details of this on our website, 3news.com. That's how we bring the bulletin to an end. My name is Martin Esiedudate.
And I'm Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Have a lovely weekend.
Pepsodent is aware that globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from